Hello students, welcome on board. This is part 4 of the chapter Human Reproduction, wherein you will be learning about the process of oogenesis. For better understanding, please do watch the previous videos. Without further ado, let's begin with the topic. Oogenesis is the process of formation of female gametes or ova in the ovary. It's the process of formation of female gametes or ova in the ovary, and it is divided into different phases. The first one is the embryonic stage. The second phase lies between the birth and puberty, and the third one is the reproductive period. Now, first we learn about the changes that take place during the embryonic stage. All right. Now, the process of oogenesis starts during the embryonic stage in a female. And at this stage, there are millions of oogonia. There are millions of oogonia present in the ovary of the female fetus. So, at the embryonic stage, the oogenesis starts. And at this stage, there are millions of oogonia within the ovary of the female fetus. And after the birth, no more oogonia is formed. No more oogonia is formed. Now, the oogonia, which is present within the ovary of the female fetus, starts the first meiotic division, and enter into prophase 1, and it gets temporarily arrested. At this stage. And this stage is called primary oocyte. It is called primary oocyte. Alright, so within the ovary of the female fetus, there are millions of oogonia present, and they undergo the first meiotic division to enter into prophase 1, where they get temporarily arrested, and it is called primary oocyte. Alright. Now, the primary oocyte is covered by a layer of cells called granulosa cells to form primary follicle. Primary oocyte is covered by a layer of cells called granulosa cell to form primary follicle. So, within the primary follicle, there is a primary oocyte. Alright. Now, during the phase between birth and puberty, a large number of these primary follicles degenerate. They degenerate. And at the time of puberty, there are only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles present in the ovary. So, during the phase between birth and puberty, a large number of primary follicles degenerate, and by the time of puberty, there are only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles present in the ovary. Now, during the reproductive phase, the primary follicle, as you can see here, gets surrounded by more granulosa cells and a new theca to form the secondary follicle. The secondary follicle then transforms into tertiary follicle. The tertiary follicle has a fluid-filled cavity which is called antrum, and the theca layer is organized into inner theca interna and outer theca externa. So, we've learned that during the reproductive phase, the primary follicle gets surrounded by more granulosa cells and a new theca to form the secondary follicle. The secondary follicle then transforms into the tertiary follicle, which has a fluid-filled cavity called antrum, and the theca layer is organized into inner theca interna, and outer theca externa. Alright. Now, at this stage, within the tertiary follicle, the primary oocyte grows in size and completes the first meiotic division, which results in a large haploid secondary oocyte and a small polar body. And this division is called unequal division, as it results in a large haploid secondary oocyte and a small polar body. After the meiotic division, then the tertiary follicle transforms into the Graafian follicle or mature follicle. Alright. Now the secondary oocyte within the Graafian follicle forms a new membrane around it, which is called the zona pellucida. The secondary oocyte within the Graafian follicle forms a new membrane, which is called the zona pellucida, and the secondary oocyte then undergo the second meiotic division to get suspended at metaphase 2. Alright, the secondary oocyte undergoes the second meiotic division and it gets suspended at the metaphase 2. Now the Graafian follicle ruptures to release the secondary oocyte from the ovary, and this process is called ovulation. The process by which the secondary oocyte is released from the Graafian follicle is called ovulation. Now the secondary oocyte enters the fallopian tube where it completes the second meiotic division when the secondary oocyte fuses with the sperm. So the secondary oocyte enters the fallopian tube where it completes the second meiotic division where it fuses with the sperm, and it forms a large cell which is called the ovum and a small second polar body. Alright, now let's recap the process of oogenesis. We've already learned that there are millions of oogonia present within the ovary of a female fetus due to mitotic differentiation. Right. Now the oogonia undergo first meiotic division and it gets suspended at prophase 1. Now once the puberty starts, the primary oocyte, which is present within the tertiary follicle, grows in size and completes the first meiotic division to form a secondary oocyte and a first polar body. Alright, now the secondary oocyte is present within the Graafian follicle. Within the Graafian follicle, the secondary oocyte then begins the second meiotic division where it gets suspended at metaphase 2. The Graafian follicle then ruptures to release the secondary oocyte, and this process is called ovulation. Now the released secondary oocyte then enters the fallopian tube where it completes the second meiotic division when it fuses with the sperm to form an ovum and a second polar body. So that means the secondary oocyte will complete the second meiotic division only if fertilization takes place. So that is about the process of oogenesis. So that's it for the session. This was part 4 where we've learned about the process of oogenesis. In part 5, we'll be covering menstrual cycle. If you found this helpful, please do like the video, and if you have any doubts, comment down below. Subscribe to watch the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.